Hi, my name is Rebecca Metcalf, and I'm here to talk to you today about my program, which is called the Freedom Foundation. I'm going to do a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. We're first going to start off with the slogan and logo, then the mission statement, why I chose this service and population, the program model, the hypothesis of etiology and intervention, goals and outcome objectives, staff members, measures used, grant funding, and my budget. So, the slogan for the Freedom Foundation is helping teens and young adults to cultivate hope. As you can see on my slides, our logo is the word freedom with the top of the letter M is kind of cut off and it's made to look like a bird is flying away. So the word freedom simply represents being free from the bondage of suicidal ideation and or mental disorders. And then the bird represents the breaking away of old ideas and the choice to let go of old solutions so that one can flourish in new resolutions. Our mission statement is to eradicate suicide among the population in Texas by facilitating the development of proper coping skills for their life and by offering support for people at risk to prevent individuals from acting on suicidal ideology and to overcome the stigma associated with mental health disorders. I chose this service because it hits very close to home to me. I have personally struggled with suicidal ideology and depression, and it is not something to be taken lightly. I always felt alone and wasn't really sure how to go about handling these things that I was feeling and who I should tell, and it was just a very confusing time. So by implementing this program, I will be helping people that are going through the same things that I used to struggle with, and I will be allowing them to know that they are not the only ones going through it, that they aren't weird or different. Sometimes this just happens to people, and also that there is a solution and that they do not have to live this way forever. So I found a scary statistic which led me to choose my target population. So the statistic says that suicide is the second leading cause of death in people ages 15 to 24. After reading that, I knew that this was the right program and that we needed to do something about this in our community. So my program is modeled after the Second Wind Fund, which is actually an existing program in Colorado. The difference between the Freedom Foundation and the model program that we use is that we will be keeping people in our facility for services instead of referring them out like the Second Wind Fund does. We will be offering things like dialectical behavior therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy for suicide prevention. The only time that the Freedom Foundation will be referring clients out is to psychiatrists if necessary for medication, because we will not have psychiatrists on our staff. So my hypothesis of etiology is people who are struggling or have struggled with mental disorders, particularly clinical depression, people who have a history of alcohol or substance abuse, and who have suffered from loss, whether it be relational, social, work, or financial, are at higher risk for suicide and suicide attempts. My hypothesis of intervention is if people with a mental disorder and suicidal ideology have access to counseling and self-esteem building by enrolling in this program, then they are less likely to act on such thoughts and will be better equipped with positive coping skills and as a result lead more successful, happy lives. So I have 3 goals. My first goal is to provide the Lubbock community with support and education to reduce the suicide rates in Lubbock County area. My second goal is within 1 year, clients who have shown signs of alcohol or drug abuse display fewer signs of risk factors associated with suicide attempts and report increase in emotional stability and coping skills. My third goal is to provide the resources and support that enable individuals in the program to have higher self-esteem, increase in self-worth, and confidence to cope with everyday occurrences of life. My 3 outcome objectives are, by 2017, 20% reduction of suicide rates in the Lubbock County through educational seminars. My second is provide resources to individuals with a history of alcohol or substance abuse so that they may improve their quality of life and combat issues leading to suicide attempts. My third is within 6 months of enrollment in the program, individuals will increase self esteem, self worth, and confidence to cope with everyday occurrences in life by 35% on the counseling assessments given, which will in turn increase overall functioning of life. The type of program that the Freedom Foundation falls under is first off outpatient, because clients will just be coming there for services offered and then going home at the end of the day. And then also it qualifies as an educational program because our staff members will be teaching them new coping skills to deal with daily life stressors, as I mentioned before in my hypothesis. And it will also be a prevention program in that it will prevent people from acting on any suicidal ideations that they may have acted on prior to being in our care. So we will have a staff which will include 5 graduate students who are going to be interns, 2 doctoral students, a receptionist, a marketing director, and a program director. So what our 5 graduate students will be working on are things like our instant messenger inquiries, which is how people first get in touch with us. And then they will facilitate group therapy and also help with billing. And so they won't be getting paid, but they will be getting hours for their licensure. We will also have the 2 doctoral students, and they will be doing things like answering the hotline phone calls, conduct individual therapy sessions, and things like that. The receptionist will be in charge of making appointments and billing. And then the marketing director is going to be in charge of community education and advocacy and design pamphlets and take information to mental health facilities so that other people can help us get the word out that we exist. Our program director is going to oversee all of operations, delegate responsibilities, coordinate all staff, and responsible for evaluation and implementation of measures. So in our program, we're going to have a pre-test, which is given on the very first day of services received, and then our post-test, which will be given on the day that we terminate services. The measures that are going to be given, and they're both going to be given on the pre and the post-test, are the Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale, and it's a numeric count. It measures things like whether the client has tried to attempt suicide, and if so, how. The Hamilton Rating Scale for depression is going to be the second measure. The severity of depression and how it is affecting everyday life is kind of what it measures, and just wants to know about the client. It helps us get a background. So the grant funding, I chose the Focus Grant. It is offered by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. The Focus Grant is an operating support grant. The amount to be funded is up to $500,000 per year for up to 3 years. The eligibility criteria needs to be met, which includes these 4 things that my program falls under. The outcome measures for baseline and follow-up must include suicidal behaviors. The assessment should include multimodal, clinically relevant measures. The study must be based in the U.S., and the evidence for the feasibility of data collection must be provided. So a quick overview of my budget. I gave everyone a generous salary, and then our facility is going to be $1,800 a month, which is not that bad. It's kind of a home-based setting, so that'll be good for people to feel comfortable and that sort of thing. And then we'll have office supplies and utilities and that kind of thing, which came to a total of $211,500, leaving us a remainder balance of $38,500. And we'll be putting that in a savings account in case we have any unexpected costs. So for future, we plan to expand all over the state of Texas and to better serve those suffering with mental disorders and suicidal ideations. And we also hope to, in the future, not be so specific in the age range so that we can better facilitate anyone that is suffering from this. So thank you for listening.